Hey, welcome to my kitchen. I hope this video is finding you in your kitchen, ready to create, feeling inspired, and ready to make something delicious. If you're new around here, I'm Jamie Lee. I make videos about home cooking and homemaking. I would love if you would think of me more as your big sister who is one step ahead of you, learning things in the kitchen, learning things about making house a home, learning things about motherhood, and just turning around and talking about and teaching you what she has learned. I think of food as an art. It's a creative form, and I believe it's the best art because you can eat it. So in the creative realm, if you are creative, you know that there's like so many different ways to do things, so many different ways to look at things, so many different things to add, and you're like, I never thought about adding that ingredient. I know sourdough can feel very overwhelming, but I don't want you to think that way. It is an art form. You are going to stumble along the way probably, but you're going to find something that works for you and your family and your timeline. I really like starting with this recipe that we're going to do today because it's super simple, it's overnight, and it does all the hard work while you're sleeping. There's not like all this timing involved like sourdough does sometimes. One type of flour, sometimes people do multiple. There's so many different ways to do it, but this one is a great starter one because you're just gonna have one bowl, a few ingredients, mix it together, let it sit, come back the next morning and fold it all in, let it rise. So this video, I want to do a step-by-step tutorial. I want it to feel like you're right next to me in my kitchen, watching over my shoulder, asking me any questions. We're just chatting, talking about life, talking about bread, talking about food. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will go personally answer all of them. I love connecting with you, and I love answering any questions that I can, or learning anything that you maybe know more than me about sourdough, because there's so many things to know about food and cooking and baking, and I love learning along the way. There is a little planning involved in this recipe because you're going to plan to make it overnight. But other than that, it's pretty basic because when you wake up, you just fold it, let it rise for the hour, and then bake it. Along with the starter and the flour and salt, which is the basics of bread, we are going to use a little olive oil and sugar. It makes it more of like a softer loaf, easy to toast. My husband likes to use it as toast every morning. Is a great sandwich bread as well. It reminds me of my grandma's bread, which was just like not sourdough at all, but it was like this fluffy white bread that all of us would be like, yes. It reminds me of that, but it's a little healthier because it's sourdough. So let's get started. I'm so excited for you and excited to see what kind of loaf comes out for you. First, you're gonna need your happy, active, bubbly starter. I like to keep my starter in the fridge so I don't have to feed it every day as if it's like a cat or a dog that you have to think about all the time. And then I take it out the morning. I'm gonna use it, feed it, and then I'm able to make bread that night. Tools you'll need is a scale. This really helps with the accuracy of your bread. A bowl, or 2 bowls, like I'm making 2 loaves in this video, however many loaves you're making, and a wooden spoon. If you would like a printout recipe card for this, I designed one for you to print out and keep in a recipe box in your kitchen. I love having things printed out so I don't have to look at my phone all the time, and it's just nostalgic to see things all splattered and used and loved throughout the years. The link's in the description box below. So first we poured in our 65 grams of starter, and now we're pouring in 300 grams of water. Give it a nice little stir. Add a tablespoon of sugar. One tablespoon of olive oil. One and a half teaspoons of salt. Give it a quick little stir. Time to add the flour. I use 500 grams of all-purpose flour. I just get this at Costco and I found it works great for this recipe. I know people have big opinions on what flour to use in sourdough, and I've just found that this flour works really great for this recipe, keeping it simple. Sometimes if you're doing like the more fancy loaves, you really want to look at that, but if you're just getting started, this flour works really great. Now we're just gonna mix it all together. It can be a little hard to come together at first, but you're gonna mix it till it's just combined. I like to use a spoon at first, and then I get in there with my hands and mix it together a little bit better. After it's all mixed, we're gonna let this sit for 20 minutes and then come back to it. Sorry, the lighting in this shot got a little weird. As I told you, I do this at night, so it was starting to get dark outside. But we're just gonna fold this together and fold it back a few times until it's in a semi-smooth ball. The dough will still feel stiff, but it will feel softer than it did before because the gluten's starting to break down already. And then you cover it with a damp towel, and we're just gonna let this sit overnight.